Hello everybody, welcome to Goldbridge Saves Football podcast, live on YouTube, reviewing the Premier League weekend. Oh my God, I feel like a spoilt child on Christmas. There's so much to unpack. This is huge, and I tell you what, we're going to go straight into it. We're going to talk about injustice, how it's not fair, Arsenal, Manchester City. Have I changed my opinion since yesterday having a sleep? No, but Will, guess what? Will is on the side of Michael Oliver and Manchester City. Well, I, for one, can't wait for this because I definitely am not. So, Will, give us the facts as to why you think Michael Oliver didn't ruin that game yesterday. Because I've got 4 reasons why he did, and I'll give you another 4. I'll give you a bunch of 5s as well.
I've got one reason, and he just stuck to the rules. And that, you know, we need rules for society going forward because otherwise, what do we live in? Absolute chaos. You're walking in here telling me that Trossard shouldn't have been sent off. The guy could have had 3 yellow cards, let alone 2. Like Roy Keane said in the post-match, you don't do that. You don't make silly decisions when it's just going into half-time. He makes the foul on that. He knows what he's done. Then he boots the ball away. It's a clear 3 yellow cards, and he's made Michael Oliver make his decision. So instead of looking at Michael Oliver, why don't you have a look at little old Trossard and say, it's your fault, young man. You've made the bad mistake there.
I'm absolutely disgusted with you, with Roy Keane, and everybody else who thinks that. This, to me,
turning
is
into
common sense.
No.
It is one of the most outrageous bits of officiating from an official who has a list as long as your arm, which is very long, in relation to decisions that help Manchester City out. Now, I'm not going to get sued here, so don't even think about it, PGMOL. But what I am saying is that he shouldn't be officiating these games because something very, 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 very odd goes on when he is officiating Manchester City. The list is endless.
What's for you is the most mental one from yesterday?
The Trossard yellow card.
No.
Oh, right.
Yeah, but that's not that. You can't be going. Some of the ones that you put out in that video that got retweeted by the Arsenal fan. Some of those ones, yes, those decisions are bad. But yesterday, there's nothing there that makes you need to get your chalkboard out with your string going, Michael Oliver was seen in Manchester in the Arndale Centre.
You're what's wrong with society.
You're what's wrong with society.
You're worse than Michael Oliver,
You're
right?
worse than...
You're quoting Roy Keane.
Yeah.
I watched that after the game.
Congrats.
Absolute outrage. Oh, I've told you this before. Will, what have I told you? Down the pub, here, with Noel. I've told you. Every 2 weeks, the PGMOL have a meeting with all of the media outlets, hold hands, and sing songs.
Right.
They're all in the same gang. So basically, what happens in those meetings is they might say, we're getting a little bit of stick from the fans. Can you help us out a little bit? I, interestingly, tuned in to post-match analysis of Man City against Arsenal. They didn't even talk about the yellow card until about 20 minutes in. And then it was like, no, at the end of the day, it's nonsense. It's a good decision. Yeah, good decision.
They talked about that at half-time. They talked about it at half-time. You weren't watching.
You know the only person who said it was a joke?
Who?
Mika Richards.
Yeah, good bloke.
Good bloke. Ex-Man City player. He said, for me, very, very soft. You don't want to see it in a game like this. I just don't understand it. I don't think it should have been a second yellow card. Well done, Mika Richards. And that's a Man City player saying that. And he's absolutely spot on. I'm not having this. I'm not changing my mind. You talk about, he's following the rules. What? So basically, football is now going to be run by a bunch of geeks and a bloody jotter of rules. Like, what is the job of a referee? What is the job of a referee?
It's to make decisions.
No, the job of a referee in an entertainment business is to entertain. The entertainment comes from the fans.
Right.
Since when has football been about the rule book? It's an entertainment sport. Your job is to let the game flow. Your job is not to sit there with Howard Webb and go, how do we fuck this up? What he did was mess it up. You know what he should have done? You go. I'm not going to be rude. I'll take a beat, which is what Michael Oliver should have done. See what I did? I could have carried on. I went, I'm just going to take a second here. I'm just going to take a second because my point's still going to stand.
How do you let the game flow? By making it go fast and consistently. You can't do that if you haven't got the ball. If Michael Oliver lets people keep booting the ball away and let that go and that go. What? How do you score a goal with the ball?
Yeah.
So if you haven't got the ball, it's been booted away by X number of players.
He hadn't booted that away.
He literally has booted it away.
He hasn't booted that way. He's trying to pass it to
What are you
Martinelli.
watching?
He's trying to boot it to Martinelli.
Bollocks.
He is.
He knows what you...
Martinelli's on the break on the left-hand side. He's trying to get it to Martinelli.
do this.
I've played the game at the highest level. It can see the pass. He's trying to do that. You know what Michael Oliver should have done? You know what? I'm going to give my 4 lists, right? The four issues with what Michael Oliver did yesterday. 1, he never should have been in charge of the game. Don't blame him for that. Why would Howard Webb appoint Michael Oliver for this game? I am absolutely not saying there is corruption or money involved or anything like that. I know it's happened in other leagues. I don't for 1 minute think we will ever have that problem in the Premier League, and I would be disgusted if we did. I genuinely can moan about officiating, but I do not think we will ever have what we've had in other leagues. So I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is, and it's a bit the same with Anthony Taylor with Chelsea, why, if you're Howard Webb, would you put Anthony Taylor in charge of a Chelsea game of a big nature? Because you're just putting an arrow on your back. It's a bit like what they did with that linesman who they said was an Everton fan with Forest. Just don't give him the game.
Yeah.
So I think the stubbornness there is stupid. And look, Michael Oliver last year, there is a big list. The Doku penalty, the Kovacic red cards, the offside, the Manchester derby. There's a lot of decisions, rightly or wrongly, that Michael Oliver made last year that helped Man City. Why would you give him the biggest game of the season, Arsenal-Man City? So I think that was mistake 1, but that's nothing to do with the actual game. The game itself, Trossard, for me, kicking the ball away is debatable, but Doku does kick the ball away.
No, he doesn't.
Declan Rice wants the ball.
No, he doesn't.
Declan Rice is in the right place.
Look what the referee's saying.
Well,
the referee's
shit about the referee.
Well,
Doku kicks the ball away, so Arsenal can't take a free kick.
No, because the referee's saying it's from back there.
You know what Roy Keane said?
So Roy Keane matters now?
No, I can use it if I want. He said, no, he's not kicked it hard enough. Declan Rice rolled it about half a metre. Doku kicks the ball away. Declan Rice clearly says to him, can I have the ball? He kicks it the other direction. Then Declan Rice turns away to the referee and goes, he's kicked the ball away, and the referee goes, no. So the ref's fucked up there. If the referee's pointed to the wrong place and Doku's kicked it there, that's on the referee. Declan Rice was in the right place and he kicked it away. So technically, that's right. Also, Bernardo Silva, just before the Arsenal goal, dribbles the ball away so that Arsenal can't have it, doesn't get booked. And also, how many times are we seeing people kick the ball away and not get a yellow card? That's the point. Whether it's in the game yesterday or not every person is getting booked for the ball being kicked away. Absolute fact.
There's a consistency one, but when you're Trossard and you're literally launching it like you're punting for touch in a rugby union game, you don't really give the referee a decision. And also with the second one that you mentioned, the referee, if you look at it on the wide angle, is pointing to where the ball is, and that's where Doku kicks the ball.
No,
so
I'm not having it.
I agree we've got a problem with refereeing. We're on the same boat on that, and I don't want this boat to break. Right? It's not the Titanic. We ain't going down together, and if we are, it's for the right reasons. But you're picking up on some silly things from yesterday.
No, I'm not picking up because I genuinely think I'm right. And also, let's not forget, the biggest fundamental thing for me is this is Man City against Arsenal. It is the biggest game of the season. You have gone past the allocated stoppage time, which is already too much.
What do you mean they've gone past the allocated?
It was like he'd added 6 minutes on, hadn't he? And it was past that when he sent him off.
No. Oh, in the first half?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think he'd added 6 minutes, and it was the 52nd minute when he sends him off. So we're right at the end of the first half. We've had a really good half of football. That happens, and you think in a game of that magnitude that you need to get your rule book out. Of course, look, I should have said this at the start. I don't blame Man City, but if this was Liverpool, Man United, obviously if we benefit it as a United fan, I'm going to say well done referee, because that's red tinted glasses. But in any game of that magnitude, you've just ruined it. And I think referees need to realise this. When you send somebody off, you ruin the game. And I said this 2 weeks ago about yellow cards. The increase in yellow cards, I don't know how...
But the first one's a yellow card.
But what are they thinking? Like, the increase in yellow cards is going to get us to this point where we get more sending offs. Has nobody realised in the PGMOL that sending people off ruins the game of football? That second half was shit. Absolute shit.
It was good fun.
No, it was fucking boring. It's
class.
defence against attack. It's boring. And I don't care whether it's Luton against Stoke. 10 against 11 is boring. So if you're sending people off, you know you're ruining the game. You are ruining the game as a spectacle. So, look, sometimes people do need to be sent off. We'll talk about Martinez in a moment. But as a referee in a game like that, when you do send somebody off, you have to know you are ruining the game. And football isn't an entertainment sport.
Yeah, but
the
then
responsibility of the referee is entertainment. This is not a death penalty. This is not sending someone to prison for 20 years. This is entertainment. There are millions of pounds swashing around. There are millions of people watching. I think we've lost, and I think Howard Webb's lost the actual fundamental of football is entertainment. It is not a bunch of maths teachers, teaching us GCSE maths, you failed. Like, it's statistical bullshit. Manage the game. What Howard Webb is doing to football with the PGMOL is wrong. They are diluting it and they are ruining it. What Michael Oliver should have done, and he didn't do, and nobody can defend him on this, is he couldn't get his card out quick enough.
There's a problem with that.
What he should have done is he should have took a beat. He should have gone, and if he is the best referee in the world, I think this is, look, I think it's disgraceful what happened. I think there are many reasons why it shouldn't have been a yellow card. Consistency is one you've agreed with. But in a game of that magnitude, if you really are the best referee, you should take a beat. He's got a VAR person. He should have gone, right, this is a massive game. This is a massive moment. I'm just going to take a second. And he didn't. It was instantaneous. It was like, yellow card, you're off. And he should have just gone, let's just take a beat and thought about it. And he could have even walked away 5 metres and the VAR, like for the Declan Rice one, could have gone, he's not giving you any choice, Michael. Send him off, Michael. But there wasn't time for any of that. It was instantaneous. It was ego. And I don't believe he's the best referee in the league. I've said for years he's rubbish. And I'm going to stand by it. He's a terrible official. He's an egomaniac. And he ruined that game.
Lovely stuff. But one thing you can't argue about is you've said here, added time again. What a shock, this referee. Like, the only reason, and overall, we'll come on to the game, I think yesterday was net positive for Arsenal. Because I do think, even though they conceded last minute, and we'll get into that, but they absolutely milked every single occasion. They did it too much. That's where the time was added on. Like, there should have been more time added on at the end. Yeah,
I mean, I think there was look, I said at half-time, I think Man City will win this game 4-2. Because it was 2-1, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think to keep them out for as long as they did, you're obviously going to be sat there at the end absolutely gutted as an Arsenal fan. And I've seen I've seen these clips of Arsenal fans dancing around, and then, I mean, look, that's just scripted. That is, that's a YouTuber knowing exactly what they're doing. That if you dance around that you've won, and then it's gone in. There ain't no real Arsenal fan who is dancing around before that final whistle, are there? No, you're not going to do that because you know. But it was a horrible, horrible, horrible way to lose. Horrible way to lose. But fundamentally, I did sort of the same as you. I did think at 2-1 down, 2-1 up at half time with 10 men, you're absolutely grabbing that point. But it's just because it's a late goal, isn't it?
Yeah, but you've said here, added time again. What a shock, this referee.
Well, I'll own that.
Yeah.
Michael, at least I'll own my anger, frustration.
But do you think, just getting into it, do you think it was more like dark arts or game management? Because I thought at the start they were doing a good job of it, but when Raya went down and you could just tell it was nothing. I just thought you are costing yourselves the game here.
Yeah, I think there's a fine line between time wasting and not, because they're always going to add on time at the end, aren't they? But
yeah,
I mean, look, the biggest criticism I would have, and it reminded me of Man United against Chelsea last year. It's a corner to Man City. How long has it been common knowledge that you can take a short corner? How much ground Grealish covers?
Did you see? Was it Jorginho? He was like subbed on. He was literally on the pitch going like.
What? I just do not understand. Maybe it was tiredness or not, but I knew Man City were going to score the second Grealish got to where he was, because it was like he's too close to goal.
Yeah.
And then the cut back to Kovacic. Arsenal just fell asleep.
Yeah. Because even Saliba was just that half a yard off. You're tired.
I think they thought. They're definitely going to put the cross in.
Yeah.
We just got to win the header, and they never thought about the short corner, and fair play. But look, I think it's a good point for Arsenal, but...
No, I think we have finally got the title race going. Like, what's the song, Linger? In your head, City. Zombie, that one.
We want people to get involved. Yellow Broski's given us a super chat and says, rules are rules, Mark. You can't change rules because the game has the biggest magnitude or because of the minute of the game. Trossard only at fault. Well, I think you're wrong. I think I don't know what you talk about. Rules are rules. Do you work for the HMRC or something? This is football,
Because if
mate.
you do, don't watch this show.
It's entertainment, mate. What do you mean rules are rules?
It's not entertainment, though.
No.
Entertainment's part of it.
Is
It's not wrestling.
entertainment.
It's not sports entertainment.
Football is entertainment.
It's
It is not. I don't want officials to ruin games of football, which is what they are consistently doing. Like, rules are rules. They're the most inconsistent organisation in the UK. Like they, what do you mean rules are rules? If every player who kicks the ball away gets a yellow card, you can't argue about it. But that doesn't happen. It's open for interpretation, and if it's open for interpretation, you can't have consistency. So your rules for rules thing doesn't work. What we got yesterday was rules are rules when we can be asked to implement them, but here's 10 other examples over the weekend where we didn't do that. And we're going to do it in the biggest game of the season. We're going to implement rules are rules in the biggest game of the season. And anybody, whether it's Will, Gary Neville, Roy Keane or whatever, I respect 2 of those people. And the point is, you're one of them actually, but the point is, you can't just sit there on live TV and go, rules are rules. You know, you've only got to blame Trossard, because an Arsenal fan will go, here's an example then. Here's an example. And it doesn't have to be in the Man City-Arsenal game. It can be from Forest against Brighton. It can be from Man United against Palace. He kicked the ball away. He kicked the ball away. He ran the ball away.
I don't think you'd have the same uproar if it was a City player.
No, I wouldn't, because Man City do it all the time.
No, but I want Arsenal to win the league.
How many yellow cards should Man City players have got yesterday?
Don't know.
About another 10. The amount of times they were around the referee.
But they're not. But ultimately as well, I thought it was good when he let Kyle walk. Like they all came over to him, which we all hate, and then he let Arsenal do the quick free kick, which they scored from, which I actually quite like. City players are moaning, but I actually think just calm your shit down, because then you wouldn't have that thing happen to you.
To the outside voice, it looks a lot like, to me at the moment, that Arsenal are being victimised in relation to kicking the ball away. They're the only team to have a man sent off.
I think it's because you watch
twice
more
now, but they're not the only team kicking the ball away. They're not the only team.
How much more 90 minutes do we watch of Arsenal compared to other?
Can I just make another good point here?
That's very Trump.
On the first goal, can I just make... No, I can't do it, Trump. Kicking the ball away, as we've already learned from Declan Rice, is not booting the ball away, like Trossard apparently did. It can be moving the ball away. Watch the first goal and watch what Bernardo Silva does. He dribbles the ball away, so there's not even a possibility of an Arsenal player trying to get the ball as he dribbles the ball away. People talk about the Doku one. I don't think it's contentious. I think he kicks it away. But look at the Bernardo Silva one as well. He dribbles it away as well. The inconsistency in a game of that magnitude, or in any game, to be honest, is not acceptable.
We've had a lot of super chats coming in. Yellow Broski, thanks for that, even though we tore you to pieces. But that's part of the community. That's part of the chat. Callum Kilby says 1 second between Leo kicking the ball and whistle. Thanks for that, Callum. Don't like it when people use first names of players, though. You're not his mate. Paul St. Davis says stick to That's Wrestling, Will. Great pod, by the way. Cheers. This is Patrick. Michael Oliver is paid by the City owners. The City owners is paying him 13.3 times his current rent salary every week. The Athletic did an article on it. Well, calm down. Richard Spencer, there was less than a second between the ref blown and the ball kicked. And Paul St. Davis again, Trossard played on thinking he won a fair duel, which he did. If that wasn't pulled, no one is saying anything.
It's not my job, and it's not your job, to make allegations against any referee in this country unless you've got stone cold evidence. But what I will say is, and I'll take it away from yesterday, is that Howard Webb should not have given him the game. I just think.
But that comes back to
even if Michael Oliver has the most perfect game, and then there's a contentious penalty for Man City at the end and it's a 50-50, every Arsenal fan's going to go, oh, he's done it again. So if I'm Howard Webb, I'm sort of like, just give it to Anthony Taylor. You know, he's considered to be the next best referee. I just don't know why. I think, you know what it is? I think ultimately it's arrogance and total lack of...
lack of quality.
What's the word when you just don't give a shit about other people?
Well, like a lack of apathy?
I don't know. I don't know what the word is, because if you're Howard Webb, you don't give Michael Oliver that game. It's got nothing to do with corruption or anything like that. There's a lot of things that went on last year that went in the favour of Man City. If he gives the best officiating of his life and there's just one 50-50 thing that goes in the favour of Man City, then everyone's going to say, oh, he's done it again. So why put the referee in that position, and why put the consumer in that position where you're going, oh my God, he's done it again? Because ultimately, I'm not saying he's a cheat or he's been bribed. Far from it. But what I am saying is, Oh, it's Michael Oliver again.
Yeah. Well, let's get into the game because, like I said, ultimately, I think Arsenal actually overall positive from that because
They'd have won that game with 11.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you think that?
Yeah, 100%. I think the way they played the first half was absolutely brilliant. Came into it like the way they just really focus on what they do really well, which is obviously the set pieces on the counter attack, the goal from outside the area, even the way they defended. And I just think that the way Man City players have reacted, we'll get into Bernardo Silva's comments. I really do think the way Haaland was speaking to Arteta is very disrespectful. I just think it comes down to we have got a title race in our hand. Arsenal are in Manchester City's heads, which we've never seen before. And the whole thing of that is because Manchester City have got 1 point at home against 10-man Arsenal for 45 minutes.
They were very frustrated.
They were very frustrated, and you could see it.
Bernardo Silva, we'll talk about his comments, but he walked off the pitch like someone had stolen his sweets. I mean, I tell you what, Erling Haaland's lucky I'm not Gabriel, because if they'd have thrown a ball at me like that, we're having words. I'd have been.
What sort of words are being said?
I'd have been Keith from The Prodigy, fire starter.
Yeah. I just think,
Rest in peace, Keith.
I really liked Erling Haaland yesterday on the pitch. I think him going up and
Yeah, but throwing a ball at someone at the back of the head.
Love
I've
that.
never thrown a ball at anyone's head. Actually, I've just realised this video footage of me doing that against Football Daily.
Yeah.
At least that hit the back of his head.
Well, that hit the back of his head there.
No, I don't. I just realised I've got no leg to stand on here. Yeah, but at least
That was a YouTube game. No,
he made a bad tackle.
Yeah, no,
Man
I
City
really
just
liked
scored
it.
a goal. No, I think it was inflammatory. But fair play to Arsenal because he throws the ball at Gabriel's head like a coward, and then from the kickoff he then goes and barges Gabriel. You think it'd be the other way around. So Haaland, I think, and then he's telling Arteta to be humble.
Yeah, that's a bit weird.
I think you don't speak to managers like that. I hate it when players have a pop at opposition managers because I think there's a line of respect, and I think he's telling Arteta to be humble. Haaland.
But I think that if you're Arsenal, you're absolutely lapping that stuff up.
Yeah.
When have we seen Manchester City players act like this in the last couple of years? And the stuff that's come out from Bernardo Silva really makes me think we've got a title race on.
Yeah, but do you not think as well? We spoke about this not this season, last season. Remember when Arsenal went to Man City last year and they drew, and we were talking about it on the podcast, and we said, I think Arteta shows too much respect to Pep, and it's like if I'm playing you at pool and I already know I'm better than you, and then you're like, you're so great at pool, thanks for having me around. I'm like, I've already won. He's in awe of me. Whereas if you come round going, don't like your house, you
stink,
and you're shit. You've had your day, you passed it, and you're
getting up for it.
Yeah, I think that Arsenal yesterday finally showed. They're a bit of fight, which they should have been doing for 2 years.
But it takes, and like when you go back to those City-Liverpool ones, it took Liverpool a bit of a time to show that bite as well. Bernardo basically saying yesterday after the game, Liverpool have already won a Premier League title and Arsenal haven't. Arsenal have won a Premier League title. Liverpool have already won a Champions League and Arsenal haven't. This is why the rivalry has been different. Also, let me add that Liverpool always face us with a clear intention of winning the game.
Well, Pep said as well after the game, didn't he, that regardless of the red card, they're only going to play one way. Man City got rattled yesterday.
Yeah, 100%.
But let's not forget, I mean, look, Arsenal didn't have Odegaard, but Man City didn't have De Bruyne. Rodri went off. And I think that Arsenal would have won that game because they know how to shut them down, but also they had no attacking option at all in the second half. So it was completely defence against attack. I sort of agree with Pep in the sense that I think Arsenal actually could be a little bit more attacking against Man City. I think they do go a bit defensive. But
ultimately, they were 2-1 up at half time.
But they're 2-1 up at half time. And the goal, I mean, Gabriel was brilliant yesterday, but that was shocking defending. But with regards to the title race, we were talking before, you've got Arsenal as potential favourites now. Although you said last week you think they've got more Brightons in them.
Well, that's the thing, but I just think yesterday the whole performance in terms of, and just everything, probably post-match rather than the actual game, just shows that like I've never seen a Manchester City in the last 2 or 3 years like this, with Arsenal being the contenders. Like Erling Haaland going up to Arteta like that just seems very irrational and very like, why are you doing that? You don't need to do it. The Bernardo Silva comments, like, no, they should be going off. Right, the way they were celebrating was like a victory, and even that just shows that Arsenal are in their head. So, the war is on. I
don't like Bernardo Silva. I think if he's on your team, he's a little shithouse, and he's your shithouse. But to everybody else, he's just a little shithouse. But what a footballer. But I think that I will defend him on saying Arsenal have never won a title before, because he does play for Man City, and they were only invented in 2008. So obviously post 2008, Arsenal haven't won a title, so I think there is context there that we must defend him on. But I think with regards to the title race, I mean, look, I would never wish injury on any player. That's not the way
when
to
you
be.
start with that comment, you just know there's a book.
But now that Rodri is injured, I hope he's out for the season.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
He's the best holding midfielder in the world, but if he's out for the season, then Man City are weaker.
Well, we sat here on Friday going, well, we're going to either have to wait for Pep to leave or the 115 charges, but Rodri is probably almost parallel to those, isn't he? Like what he brings.
I'm just hearing Rodri will be back to play on Tuesday.
Yeah.
I guarantee he will be. But no, I think.
Who do you think are title favourites, Mark? Goldbridge?
I still think Man City. There was a very interesting take yesterday where people were like, "Why don't everybody play like this against Man City? You can just shut them down." But why does Haaland have 10 goals in 5 games? Because you've got to be defenders of the quality.
That was a nice goal, wasn't it?
Yeah, but you've also got to be the quality of the defenders that. If you've got Real Madrid defenders and Arsenal defenders, and even Man United have done it, and even Liverpool have done it, then you can shut Haaland down.
Yeah.
But if you're playing for Everton, you're not going to shut him down. He's the world's best striker. So you can shut Haaland down, but you've got to be like Inter Milan. They're brought up on that, aren't they? So I don't think it's. I don't think Arsenal haven't reinvented how you play against Man City. You won't keep a player like that.
And it changed every week, doesn't it? Because I was going to say it for the way Bournemouth approached the Liverpool game. Like Bournemouth could just approach the same way that Forest did. And they didn't. They got torn apart. But every team is different. And if they're all the same, it would be boring.
Pim says he's literally wishing injury on players. I'm not wishing injuries on players. I said he's already injured. I hope he's out for the season now. I haven't wished he's injured. Now I hope he's out for the season.
Thank you very much. We've got so many super chats flying in. We really appreciate it. Lib says Manchester City committed 115 binding regulation violations. Rules don't matter to them, mate. Robert McCormack says, do you want our champions to play like that? That's an interesting one. Nelly says, 2 times yellow card for Martinelli, no Liverpool pen, Doku handball, Everton pen not given versus City, Kovacic no red times 2, being paid to referee in Abu Dhabi, Oliver is sus.
I think, look, I think the refereeing in Abu Dhabi and the payments and everything like that is a job for proper journalism, which probably doesn't exist much in football anymore. That's not a separate argument. It's a fair argument, but it's one that I'm not qualified or in the know enough to discuss. But I think Howard Webb could have made a better call with the actual referee, as I've said.
Right, before we go on to the other ones, AJ says thoughts on Bernardo. We've covered that. The rules are rules, but when Oliver officiates the games at the Emirates last year, he didn't want to send Kovacic off because it was a big game. Well, that's pretty much what you've said, isn't it?
Well, yeah, this is what I mean. Like, I called... I said there's a clip of me going around where somebody said that Gary Neville said it was a yellow card, and I said idiot, and I was angry. I mean, whether Gary Neville's an idiot or not, I don't actually feel like he is today. I was just angry at the time, but I feel I could sit with Neville or Keane or anybody and have an argument with them and say, but I genuinely do believe that football should be refereed as the event that it is. And I just think he should have took a beat. And what a great comment that is. Last season, he didn't give a red card to Kovacic twice. And the only explanation really that came out was that because it was such a big game. And then 12 months later, he's not doing it. It's just it's inconsistency, as you've said, is the big problem. And I don't think it's going to go away. But I do look forward to the audio of that because I'd love to know. I don't think there's time for them to say anything to him. I think he's made his own mind up because he isn't the sort of referee. Well, my example here of Oliver is if you listen to the audio of the Doku one against Liverpool
from last year.
Yeah, he's basically telling VAR before he's going definitely not contact. Yes, I think I get the feeling, and whether it's fair or not, I think Michael Oliver is a rule unto himself within the PGMOL.
Yeah, but I think football-wise, Arsenal sort of had for that first half, obviously you've got to judge it in 2. They had a good game plan against Man City. They focused on their positives, which were the set pieces and the way they scored the goal, and it worked. So if they can come to the Emirates and beat them, I think that's definitely more than possible.
Be a great game at the Emirates, hopefully, as well, because that hopefully now is going to, like we say, set a rivalry up. Because there was a comment yesterday, actually, I don't know whether it was Carragher or Neville or whoever the commentator is, but apparently it got likened, the Man City Chelsea-Arsenal rivalry, before it kicked off, it was in the first half, was likened to Man United and Arsenal's rivalry in the late 90s. And I was like, absolutely not. On no
I
level.
think to be fair to them, I think they were saying it's going to start like that. And like this does feel like the sort
but
of
Arsenal
like...
have got to win a title first. Because Man United and Arsenal were winning titles.
Yeah.
The Liverpool and Man City rivalry actually was, Bernardo Silva's right, about winning titles. But let's talk about Liverpool, because I actually think that result... I don't think many people went with an Arsenal win, so the best we could have hoped for was a draw. And look, big shout out to Arsenal for getting that. From 2-1 down at the Etihad, I didn't think it was possible with 10 men and half the game to play. But Liverpool won against Bournemouth, which is probably what we would have expected, but they had lost to Forest the week before. They've got a really difficult game on Saturday. They're away to Crystal Palace, which is one of the biggest games... hardest games of the season for any team, let alone...
If Dean Henderson's playing like that again.
What about Pratt of the Week?
Yeah.
Let's just do Pratt of the Week now.
Go on.
You're a big fan of Troy Deeney, but you can't believe he's put Onana in goal for Team of the Week.
Yeah,
it was a good double save.
Onana's double save is good. The second save is out of this world, and he only gets that opportunity because the first save, he palms it right back into the middle of the goal, and he has to make that second save to make it a good double save.
I'm surprised your analysis of goalkeeping is that good, because you know what? Honestly, Onana, shot stopping wise, never ever gets it out. His save's good. But any United fan will tell you, a lot of the time, the ball ends up going back into a dangerous area. He's not one of those goalkeepers that can make a save and then tip it into... I mean, it's a difficult thing to do from there.
No, but if you're saving the ball like that, it should be you're putting it behind the goal or putting it to... So
the second save's amazing.
The second save's amazing, but I think the way Dean Henderson performed in that game, the way Raya performed, I could easily see a different goalkeeper. But that's why football's great, isn't it? It's subjective.
No, I think if you're going for goalkeeper to put in a Team of the Week, and look, admittedly, I haven't seen 90 minutes of every game, but I think it would have to be between Dean Henderson and Raya.
Yeah.
The pressure they were under consistently as well. The double save from Onana is probably the save of the weekend. Double save, I think. But it's consistency, isn't it? It's not a double save. You know,
you have to bring the first save. He only makes the second save, which is amazing because of a bad first save. So it's like, I don't think you can have those two things together. Like, they're not mutually exclusive, if that makes sense.
Apparently, Liverpool have got Wolves this weekend.
Right.
Away at 5:30, and then they've got Palace.
Right.
Ooh,
Wolves. Told you, mate. What did I tell you?
Yeah,
hey?
we're not here to talk about Wolves.
You're all laughing, but you're not laughing now.
After 5 games, Liverpool have to be back in a title race now. That's how quickly it can change.
Well, you just got to keep, like, you couldn't afford... I think the timing of the Nottingham Forest result to be at the start of the season for Arne Slot is almost good, just to be like, yeah, this is Premier League football, have a shock.
And fair play to Liverpool fans, because a lot of them, most of them, obviously you're going to get a few minority prats, but most Liverpool fans would just sort of like what Michael Oliver should have done, really. Just take a breath and go, do we need to overreact to this? Yeah. Or do we just go, let's... And I tell you what, if he's not in somebody's Team of the Week this season, they're an idiot. Luis Diaz. I only watched the extended highlights, but bloody hell.
He's in Troy's.
Yeah, well done, Troy. It was you who called him an idiot. Pratt. Luis Diaz just looked absolutely unplayable.
Yeah.
Like, his touch, his speed, he looked absolutely fantastic. And look, Liverpool, I don't want Liverpool or Man City to win the league for obvious reasons. I'd rather Arsenal win it, but I'd rather have a 3-way than a 2-way.
Don't we all, mate? Hey, so that's football!
But you know what? Even Man United are only 6 points off the top. Now, we're not winning the league. Then he's gone. We're not winning the league, but what I'm saying is it's so early in the season. He's talking about Wolves getting relegated.
We've got 1 point there.
Man United are 6 points off the top.
And let me tell you.
And that's nothing. 6 points is nothing.
And I would love it.
And I would love it if we win the league. But what I'm saying is the Scampy Fries have had enough.
Chips are down.
They are... Yeah, Man United aren't going to win the league. What I'm saying is it's still it's very, very compact.
Sorry, I'm all over the place. But let's stick with Manchester United, because there was quite a lot of stuff to break from that. Let's start pre-match. The news: Marcus Rashford's not starting. Jamie Redknapp.
Yeah,
everyone's
Pratt of the week
gone in there. Even I thought that. It just felt like I've had it sometimes when you're live, not on here, I don't think, but when you're in that situation and you're almost thinking of things to say, and he's just gone. Well, you think there's obviously been some sort of thing that's happened between the two of them. What, based on what?
Well, it's a good. I mean, let us know what you think. So Jamie Redknapp sort of said it's bizarre that Marcus Rashford has been dropped, and whether something comes out this week or not, it looks like something's happened. And I was watching it. Well, I watched it later because obviously I was streaming, and I just was like, I can't do that on the United stand. You know, we would be contacted by certain people about that. So if I can't do that and you can't do that, why is Jamie Redknapp allowed to sit on national TV and basically speculate about something that he's got no evidence of? He even sat there going, well, you know, it might come out, it might not come out, but, you know, something for me has gone on. And then the very next day, Phil Foden's on the bench for Man City. And it's like rotation, isn't it? So I just think it's I mentioned it on the United stand yesterday. It gets on my nerves, to be honest with you, because it's always United and it's always trying to find an angle. And we're not Man City. We're not even in a title race. We're trying to get there. And then you got these people trying to just derail us all the time. And I thought it was just really... any United fan would say Rashford or Garnacho to start against Palace. It was pretty much 50-50.
But he brought him on through the middle, though. So could he not have done that?
He brought him on with half an hour to go and nothing happened.
No, I know, but I just feel like Redknapp's comments aside, I just feel every game this season, barring the Southampton one and the Barnsley one, but that doesn't really count, like Eric Ten Hag just makes like a rod for his own back, where it's just like...
Did you watch the game?
Yeah.
We were brilliant. For an hour.
Yeah, well, I thought you were good.
We should have been 2-0.
I didn't think you were brilliant. Yeah, like the Fernandes chance, like
there was a lot
hard
of chances.
Garnacho, like
we were really good.
Yeah, I
in the
thought
first half.
but I just think like, but if
stylistically is something that many people talk about United and go, they've got no style of play. You had the high line, you had high possession, and you had high chance creation. Last season we had none of that. So,
but then ultimately,
it's
like
just not getting the results.
But Marcus Rashford probably takes one of those chances.
Yeah, look, I had Rashford in my team when I did the preview. But I can't argue with Garnacho starting because he'd scored 3 in the last 2.
Yeah, but drop Ahmed.
But then I think Garnacho and Rashford, you're playing in... Do you want to start accommodating them? Like Ahmad is a right winger. I think they're left wingers. You could have played Rashford down the middle. Xerxes played really well. I think, to be fair, he should have took Bruno off with half an hour to go. That was the biggest thing for me. But if they score one of those chances, they probably win the game. Dean Henderson was fantastic. Palace had good chances at the end, which you'd expect. I think if United win that game, we're all going, oh, it's a step forward. A draw is just a bit of a halfway house. But
I just think
for me, Man United Spurs next week is the big game.
Yeah, exactly. I'd be looking forward to that because then it sort of brings in...
There's nowhere to hide
this result gets based on next week, if you get me.
Yeah, and we've spoken about Spurs a little bit. And
Sorry, we can't move on from Manchester United.
Go on then.
Martinez.
Oh, yeah. Will you go first on this? Do you think... look, I'm borderline. It's a red card.
If someone did that to you on Sunday League, you'd smack him in the face.
He didn't make any contact, did he?
Well, luckily he didn't.
But so he can't send him off.
I know.
I think the message is right.
It's just more like Martinez.
You've just got to understand the context, and that's for me sometimes where I think if they send him off, it's the right message because you can't do it. But I actually think they made the right choice because they're basically saying if he'd made contact, it would have been a sending off, which is the right thing. But it probably doesn't send the right message to everybody who goes, well, you shouldn't be able to do that at all. He just doesn't make any contact, does it?
It just makes you want to, like, if you're
You can't tackle. It's not. It's disgusting. That is the quintessential.
Sunday
League,
do that. And if you see that Sunday League, you'd be like, what the... Like, you are trying to actively injure me. Like, you were jumping in, like, people were saying...
Did he pull out or did he just miss?
No. I think I don't know. It felt like a halfway house between there. Yeah. But like for an experienced pro at the back who you want to be leading the line going forward, I just think like what you're doing.
I've got no problem with Martinez doing it, other than the fact that he shouldn't have done it.
I don't think you should be doing that.
No, but I think he's called the butcher. You know, Roy Keane.
I'm called the weasel. Well, like, what's that mean? Like
you are a weasel, but he is a. But what I'm saying is, you can't have the passion without the fire, and you're going to get those moments.
Butcher. Who's called him the butcher? Like, and he. Like he can't.
I've never done that.
If he's calling himself the butcher, like for me, that could be Pratt of the Year nomination. Has he got any butcher merchandise?
But I think there are players out there, especially from. I mean, I think we've had a few. Marcus Rojo, how he never got sent off. Heinz,
Rojo,
Mascherano was like it. They've just got this fire in them, and look, it was completely and utterly wrong. But I think the decision was right because there was no contact.
I think. Barring the referee decision, just as an actual like individual decision to go in and do that, like that just worries me.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
No, but like just worries me about him going forward.
It was, and the thing is,
0-0
at that point in that game, that could have lost us the game as
Exactly, prime Pratt.
But no, let's move to Spurs. United play them next Sunday, Super Sunday. Both teams haven't started particularly well. But I tell you what, fine margins. I think Man United should have beat Palace. It's a draw. I watched the Spurs-Brentford game. Really good result if you just see it as 3-1 on the results page. If you actually watch the game, well, Brentford had some very good chances. And I think that whilst Spurs deserve to win, 3-1, if you don't watch it, you think, a comfortable win. Brentford actually, what a goal to start off with in the first minute. And they played, Brentford have had a very good start to the season. I think they should be holding their heads up high. There was a contentious moment in that. I think we're both in agreement on this. The Vicario handball is irrelevant.
Yeah, I think when I saw it initially, when you see it on the Twitter clips on 360p, it's like, what's going on there? But Thomas Frank was quite measured in his post-match, wasn't he? Just saying it was a yellow, wasn't a goal-scoring opportunity. And I think we want to have a go at referees and we want to get it right, but just everyone calmed down and that was fine.
Yeah, it should have been a handball, should have been a yellow card, but all you're going to get is a free kick and not a sending off anyway.
I'll tell you who was absolutely purring, which was really nice to see, and I hope it continues. James Maddison looked really good.
Yeah, he did look really good.
And I hope he sort of continues in that vein of form as well, because although Brentford had some really good chances, Spurs created so many and should have scored a lot more. So,
well, Man United are playing Spurs next, and I don't wish injury on anybody. I don't know. I genuinely don't. I don't think Spurs are playing midweek.
I think that's
right.
Again. This is
they're playing Karabakh.
Big Ange against Eric Ten Hag again. Like that, I just feel it could. For me, it could be a big Ange win, just in terms of that coaching performance against one another.
It's one of those games again where next Monday, whoever's lost, it's a bit like Spurs Arsenal last week. Whoever loses that game is in crisis. Big crisis, and whoever wins it has probably got momentum.
And if you're Ineos, I just think you're looking in some ways, Spurs and Man United are very comparable about where you want to get to and what you want to do. Like if you're Ineos and you're seeing Big Ange outclass and outperform your Man United side, you just alarm bells are already ringing. And then you see something like that.
Happen.
It just can't happen. So I think that's going to be.
With United at the moment, it's always just we're holding brief, really. And the next game is always the biggest game, and I think that will be massive. But nice to see Brennan Johnson score as well.
Yeah, gave the big shush as well, which I don't mind. Scored against Coventry.
Not against your home fans.
Yeah, maybe not.
Rashford did it last year. I don't think he should do that. You can understand why they do it, but
some
I don't
kid
like
just
it.
sat there like, I didn't do it. I backed
I
him.
love you.
Yeah,
I love you.
I love you.
I hate you now.
But friend of the channel, so he can do what he wants.
I don't really understand it. I think he's a good player. I really do. Let's talk Chelsea, because I thought just keeping it with the official. And we want to talk about this playing out from the back. Spotted something this weekend that Will spoke about a couple of weeks ago, and I really noticed it watching all the goals. But Chelsea was West Ham, wasn't it?
West Ham, Chelsea, yeah.
Yeah,
12:30.
Let's just...
TNT.
I want to sort of clarify by saying Nicholas Jackson, I've given him a lot of credit.
Can I shock you?
Can I just shock you now? No, Nicholas Jackson for me is not the striker for Chelsea. He's way too inconsistent, but when he's on it, 2 goals and an assist, brilliant.
Only behind Haaland since the 1st of May in terms of goals scored.
Unplayable. And Chelsea away from home.
I thought,
so
was
good.
it Alvarez who was playing defensive midfielder?
Yeah.
The way he tracked back for both of those goals was like he was towing a caravan. He looked so off the pace. It was comical. They were like, right, just run behind him, but don't actually catch him up. I just thought the West Ham back line, the West Ham defence was absolutely shocking. And then I see David Moyes was with our friends Keys and Gray. He was doing the coverage. He was quite
loving it.
He was quite measured, to be fair, but he was like, we used to get really good results at home against Chelsea. And
well, I was going to say that. Please do smash a like and subscribe if you're watching, and make sure you give us a share on YouTube. Lots of people getting involved. We'll get into those comments in a moment. Low Fat says Chelsea looking good, and North will rise again. Says apparently Nicola Jackson is the Nicholas Jackson is the bomb right now. I'm not so sure. And Pato says human beings are inconsistent at times and also incontinent. Okay, lovely stuff.
Nice.
Get your nappy on, Pato. I think that, I think that I'd be a bit worried about West Ham at the moment. But you know what? I didn't watch all of the game because I was out watching my daughter play, but football, and it was a very equal game. Possession, it was 50-50. Shots, it was pretty much the same. Yeah. But what Chelsea did was clinical, and what West Ham did wasn't. And I think that's the impressive thing about Chelsea at the moment. It was not a dominant Chelsea performance. It was a very equal game, but the scoreline was dominant. What I would say in defence of West Ham, and it was, it probably gets overshadowed by Michael Oliver in the game yesterday, of course, but that's a penalty. That is a penalty. You know the explanation of the hold wasn't long enough or something. I'm like, my God, you know, hear me out on this. You've just described something you can't officiate. You can't say the whole. Just say it was a dive, but don't say the hold wasn't sustained for long. It was. I can't remember what the wording was, but it was something like the hold wasn't for long enough. But you've just admitted it's a hold.
I'm sure. I think it was a penalty, but then
outside the box, that's a foul.
But then I'm also sort of glad it wasn't given.
I don't look.
Do you know what I mean?
No, I think it should be a penalty. I really do. I think you've got. I worry for the game. All I'm interested in is the game, and I worry for the game because
I've played it.
I think next weekend you can't keep. You know what? We've spoke about this a lot last season. You can't keep confusing football fans.
No,
like,
I know.
We are the most important people. I know we don't earn the money that the players do, and and everything like that. But we are the people that make the money for those people by turning in and tuning in and paying for this, that, and the other. And you can't keep confusing football fans. We're already confused about what's a red card. We're already confused about what's kicking the ball away. We're already confused about what's a handball in the box. And now we're being told he didn't hold him for long enough. And it's like, if I'm taking Seb to the football and he holds him and he's going, that's a penalty, Dad. And I'm like, no. Only 1.5 seconds. It's got to be over 2.5.
Yeah.
But you can't put that in the rules. So I just think this is where they go wrong. Like, just please simplify it because it will make your own job easier and it makes the consumer and the viewer's job easier. He holds him. We saw Trossard's first yellow card for the shirt.
Yeah.
There's nothing worse than that.
No, yeah. True.
And so for me, it's a penalty. It's soft. But I think what I have to say is that even though that's a penalty, Chelsea deserve to win. And I think also Man City and Chelsea fans need to be very careful because next week it will be you. Don't be defending these referees just because they helped you out. I'm not saying I'm not anti-Chelsea. I'm not anti-Man City. I'm just saying, well, I am anti-Man City if I'm being honest. But I'm saying it to Chelsea is you were brilliant. You deserve to win. But that decision has got nothing to do with you. It's just one that's gone your way. And if it happens to us against Spurs, yabba dabba doo.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know where I'm at with West Ham because I sort of tweeted out like you should be apologising to David Moyes, but then
he could get the sack, mate.
They've never lost their first three games at home.
He could get the sack,
and they have. But they've lost to Aston Villa. They beat Palace. They drew with Fulham in the last minute. They lost to Man City. They lost to Chelsea. So they've only lost to Chelsea, Man City, and Aston Villa.
But it's at home, isn't it? And David Moyes is right. And I think they won the transfer window as well. And I think
their season could start now. They got Brentford away, then they got Ipswich Town away.
Tough game.
I know, but should be 2 wins. If you're West Ham,
if he doesn't win either of those,
I just always think with West Ham, like their expectations, like with David Moyes, I actually think he's over delivered in what he's done with them, and like going forward, like they want to kick on to the next level. But like you go into a season, sad as it is, you have to just look at the wages spent, don't you? In terms of if you want to break it up top 7, which it is now. It's so tough. So if you've got someone delivering your top half performances, great nights out in Europe, I don't know what more you could want, really. Like I know you want more, but like I don't know if Lopetegui's the man to take them there.
I think they wanted that style of football, didn't they?
Yeah,
and they've gone for that. But we did say last season. I feel like I'm saying we did say last season a lot on this show. Apologies, everybody.
Because we were right.
But we did say last season, style of football can be how patient can you be? You need results. I mean, look at Fulham again. I mean, I feel really bad for Newcastle because I said that they were my dark horse, and 10 points from 4, we probably didn't champion them enough because they were just sort of ticking along in the background. They went to Fulham and got their asses handed on the plate. I mean, Fulham were absolutely fantastic. But Newcastle, look, sorry we didn't speak about them enough on the previous 2 weeks. But
sorry.
I don't think they were playing that well, but they were getting good results. And I think they probably got caught up.
He made a lot of changes as well, which for did they have Carabao Cup last week? I don't think they did they? I can't remember.
Probably would have done.
But I just thought he made quite a few different changes. I feel like Fulham are going to be like that team of the year. Like looking at that starting 11, it just feels like they could be. You always get
Smith Rowe's doing really well.
Yeah, you get like a Brighton. Like Jimenez's first goal was absolutely everything I love in a striker. Back to goal turn, great stuff.
Traore looking good.
Traore looking good. The wingers looking good. Smith Rowe looking good. That midfield, obviously losing Paulinho, but they've got like Lukic and who's the other player that name's forgot me? Who else in that central midfield? I can't remember. But they got a really good... Getting Anderson in from Palace.
Yeah.
They've got a really good they've got a really good team, and I think that they could have a top half finish, which for them is absolutely magical.
They're the quintessential Premier League team, aren't they? You know, if
This season they are. Reece Nelson off the bench.
Well, I said it last season. I said Fulham are why this Premier League is so strong, because they can lose to anyone, but they can actually give everybody a game. And I thought that they were very, very good. But that's something I wanted to bring in. I counted in the game between
Fulham and Newcastle.
Fulham and Newcastle. I mean, Shaw should have equalised from it.
Oh my God! Why didn't he pass?
Bruno Guimaraes did it. And then it definitely happened in the Villa game. There was 2 in the Brentford Spurs game. There was 1 in the Ipswich game. Just an amazing amount of goals this weekend from playing out from the back. And I'm not saying it's like 50% of the goals in the Premier League came from playing out the back, but it must have been around 20 or 30%. Now, you mentioned this in relation to teams playing out from the back in League One. But are we getting to the point where we're jumping the shark a little bit here with playing out from the back? Because we want our football to be unpredictable and entertaining, but we're starting to get a high percentage of goals each week that are coming from playing out from the back. And when that gets into to the spectator's mind, it just changes the way you watch football. Yeah. Like when you know that a lot of goals are being conceded from playing out from the back, it just changes the way you watch football, doesn't it?
Yeah, and also, like, for instance, I think it's all about game management, because that Shah one comes from a mistake at the back for Fulham. They're 2-1 up.
Yeah.
Like, it's
a gimme, isn't it?
It's about 15 minutes left, I think, 20 minutes left. Like, you should not be making those sort of passes in that area at that time. So,
but everyone does it, don't they?
Yeah, I think it's just more common sense, which
sometimes you just got to put it down the pitch, haven't you?
Put it in the channels. I mean, they've got big. You know, I mean, they literally got Adama Traore. Yeah, he can run for days. So I think
there's just an obsession with playing out from the back that everybody's got at the moment.
Well, I mean, Southampton have had it, and we brought that up in the past, and I think I just didn't play the situation.
Do you think we'll ever see the return to like a 6'5" John Fashanu type striker who just stands there on the centre backs, drifts to the right?
Well, Jimenez is sort of like not to that level, but like that first goal is like proper old fashioned centre forward play, isn't it?
The way centre backs can ping a ball 50 yards now.
Mm. Well, remember when we were at the Blues game Monday, and you were like, look at the goalie, Arthur Nkongu, he was like doing a little dink. And it was like going 60, 70 yards.
Wrexham goalkeeper warming up before the Blues game last Monday. He wasn't even trying, and he's just pinging the ball well into the opponent's half. I wouldn't even hit the halfway. Well, I would, but you know, just unbelievable. But I look, it's about football the way it's played. If you have a 6'3" striker who wanders over to the left back or right back who's 5'7", there ain't no way a centre back can't ping the ball to their chest. You've got possession high up the pitch. You don't always have to. Everybody just wants to play out from the back.
No, but even like Man City, look at the one Haaland scored the other week. Was it against Brentford?
Yeah.
Edison pins the defender, rolls him, and he's in. So I think we are, like, this weekend I've got a little, like, we're trying to, if you've seen some fantastic goals that we've missed, especially at lower level or European stuff, but I think the Darwin Núñez strike against Bournemouth, absolutely beautiful. Calafiori strike. And there were some other ones in there, so get those sent in. But I do think we're getting, and Burmu and Jimenez's goal with proper old-fashioned forward centre play.
Yeah. Who else haven't we covered in the Premier League?
Aston Villa. You wanted to speak about Aston Villa, apparently.
I thought Wolves played very, very well. I disagree with you that they're going to be in a relegation battle.
They're already in one.
Well, they're not. It's 5 games.
They got 1 point.
Look, very, very quickly, I am not changing my mind about Leicester, Ipswich, and who else we got promoted?
Southampton.
Okay, but they just don't. They don't win. It's always points or losses. They've got to. You're saying Wolves are in a relegation battle. None of those teams have won a bloody game yet.
Yeah, neither have Wolves.
Wolves are too good to be down there. They are. But they played very well against Villa. But again, I'm going to shout Villa out. The atmosphere was fantastic, and they just powered through. A bit of a European hangover, maybe. That might be a problem going forward. Wolves played well first half, but
he said, didn't he? He said we just got it wrong. He made the subs like when Barkley and Duran came on. Duran's like we've got that sort of thing I feel happening with the goals outside the box, the volleys, the old-fashioned striker play. Sunday at the Etihad with all the little bitchiness and the shithousery, and Duran like just feels the essence of like what a Premier League striker used to be. Ollie Watkins scoring as well. Like they've got Bayern Munich next, Aston Villa.
Can't wait for that.
So that'll be the real test of European football. Let's just get some super chats in. Sorry, before we have a look at the EFL stuff. Max says, do you think Chelsea will get top 4 this season? They look good.
Top 4 race is brilliant. It's too hard to say at the moment because you're going to get Liverpool, Arsenal, Man City, and then fourth place is up for grabs. Chelsea, Newcastle, hopefully United, Spurs, Villa, Brighton. I feel like I always missed somebody else as well. Yeah.
Fulham.
Maybe.
The Spurs way, Will Appreciation Chat, £2. Thank you very much. Tom Hicks says you never read the very first super chat. Tom Hicks. Whenever
self-appreciated there.
Whenever more than one player approaches the referee, at least one of those players and potentially more will be shown an automatic yellow card. I think that was in relation to all the Man City players running around. Spursway says Rashford always scores against Spurs. It's nailed on. Only thing consistent about the referees is inconsistency. And Zylo says, did you hear? Now it's 130 charges. I only knew that because of a community note on Twitter.
Yeah.
Which is quite interesting, isn't it? A fantastic weekend for me, not for you.
I had a terrible weekend with my teams. Coventry, I think, might have drawn.
You're right. You need to by Friday. I think you need to have a new team.
I'm just going to stick with Coventry now.
Are you?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
You okay? You sure?
Yeah.
Okay. Sunderland 1, Middlesbrough 0. Very happy birthday to Joe Bellingham today as well.
I'll tell you what, I did crap on FPL. I forgot.
I did awful as well. 30 something.
I forgot. Yeah. And there's no reason. It's not even after the international break.
And there was no Friday game.
I don't know why I've dropped the ball on that.
Are you drinking Friday?
Yeah.
Let's have a chat after. All right.
On Monday. No.
I'm drinking now. Sunderland 1, Middlesbrough 0. Chris Rigg, 17-year-old, back heel. Remember the name.
Yeah, well, United looking at him. Apparently.
Don't do that. Coventry 1, Swansea 2.
Coventry lost?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
In League 1, Charlton got slayed by Steve Bruce.
At home?
Yeah, at home. Bruce is back, baby.
So that's a double embarrassment, losing to Steve Bruce.
In
2024, losing to Steve Bruce. That's like coming home and seeing your missus in bed with Ian Beale. It really is. That is embarrassing, mate. Charlton,
and Steve Bruce in a threesome.
We need a word. And he says, get in, pet. No.
Rotherham 0, Birmingham City 2. Wow. 5 wins on the bounce. Waka waka. 20 million down the drain. Jay Stansfield scores again.
Can you not just go into the Championship now?
Oh, God. I lived for the days of this. 13 years of absolute objectivity.
You literally could be promoted by Halloween.
Oh, brilliant. Well, that will be a spooky surprise.
But who's going to beat you in that league? Who is going to beat you in that league?
I don't know.
Wrexham away?
Waka waka. Waka waka.
No, nothing against it. But
20 million down the drain. Jay Stansfield scores again.
They're like Fulham in the League One. They're just too good for it. I saw it on Monday. Anyway,
Notts County lost to Gillingham, first versus second.
So all four.
Solihull Moors lost. Yeah, and Chesterfield drew 1-1 with Cheltenham Town.
Press conference for Goldbridge. Look, you're going to have bad weeks. You're going to get weeks like this. It's not about 1 week. It's about the whole season. Charlton, Notts County, Solihull Moors and Coventry. We've got to do better.
Yeah, we've got to do better.
How did you do well?
Sunderland won. Sunderland won. Blues won. Cheltenham drew. Moors were together.
Yeah.
I think that, they're having it tough. I think we've covered everything there. Looking forward to some Carabao Cup football this week and some Europa League.
Man United playing Wednesday night Europa League football. We're back on Friday for another Premier League weekend review from the Goldbridge Arms.
No, sorry.
Very, very excited about that. But yeah, look, what you can't argue is it was a very interesting weekend in the Premier League.
I thought Carragher was spot on, actually, like when it was all kicking off and he was like, oh, I do love this. And I was sat there with that last 5 minutes of that Arsenal City game and I was like, I love it when it's bubbling.
Yeah, but you know what? I think if it starts bubbling up, they'll start giving out yellow cards for that as well. You don't want to see it, do you?
Yeah, I think overall they have got to revise what they're doing with those yellow cards or just change the ban length.
Yeah.
So, yeah. See, Eric, the Bournemouth manager, he's got a ban, but he was saying it was about the offsides, and he's gone like that, and they've said we were gesturing for a yellow card, so he's been given a ban.
They are a bunch of jobs. These referees are a bunch of jobsworths. And I, you know what? I would say they'll be having a meeting this morning, and I bet they're all just so arrogant. They're all in a group, massaging each other's ego, going, they're all the enemy. They're all the enemy. We're right, Howard. We're right. You are right. Let's get down. Let's go for a run.
I think we should end the show, with Chris Smalling's just tweeted out that he's actually, I don't know if you saw, he's gone out to Saudi Arabia And in a tweet that's not linked at all to his latest move to Saudi Arabia, he's tweeted, you know, the line that's being built in Saudi Arabia, the big glass line? He's tweeted this morning, the line, a cognitive city stretching 170 kilometres from the mountains of Neom across desert valleys to the Red Sea, a mirrored architectural masterpiece towering 500 metres above sea level, but a land-saving 200 metres wide. Unique solar and wind advantages for 100% clean energy protection, preservation and regeneration set at the core of Neom's model. Which is something, you know Chris Smalling and I know Chris Smalling. And that's something he's always talked about, isn't it?
Yeah. Great tweet there. Great tweet.
And that's not linked to his latest move to Saudi Arabia at all.
No. I don't know. I tell you what, it's got nothing to do with anything, but the boxing at the weekend when they played the Saudi national anthem, I was just like...
Oh, so was that played before the British one? Yeah, because it's Riyadh season at Wembley.
In Wembley with 2 British boxers, and we're playing the Saudi
I
national
hope
anthem.
Anthony Joshua retires.
Yeah.
Just because he seems like a really nice bloke, but his head's all over the place, isn't he, at the moment?
I don't say anything because he'd probably be able to knock me out, but...
Well, you can take probably out of that. Yeah,
you never know.
He would knock you. He'd knock you.
Duck it, uppercut. He's down. He can't take a punch.
Wow. What, from you?
Probably can't take a punch. You never know.
Wow.
Thanks everyone for watching. I'm on my FIFA career mode at 3:00 if you want to tune into that. And we'll speak to you all soon. Thank you very much to Will.
Thank you to Mark.
Great show. Take care.